COVID-19 pandemic reaching historic heights nationwide. A record-breaking number of cases in just the last 24 hours.
The hospitals, frankly, just can't keep up with the trend.
Two of the biggest counties in our state now seeing new cases skyrocket.
I think people are just kind of wanting to get back to normal and maybe ignoring what's actually going on.
The number of cases we could be up against in just a matter of months if nothing changes. Live team coverage straight ahead.
The fight to the finish. The presidential election now just 4 days away. President Trump and Joe Biden head-to-head in one of the key battleground states as they prepare for their last weekend on the campaign trail.
Turning back the clock, but is the extra hour of sleep this weekend really worth it? The impact it may have on your health.
But first, breaking news to bring you now. The USGS reports a 7.0 magnitude earthquake struck in the Aegean Sea between Greece and Turkey. There are now reports that some buildings have collapsed in the western Turkish city of Izmir. Other buildings are reportedly damaged, and Turkey's interior minister said that 6 buildings have collapsed. I'm also seeing some reports of a small tsunami on the Greek island of Samos. I'm still working on getting some pictures or video from Turkey. As soon as I get those, I'll bring those to you in another live update.
Now to Snohomish County and some tense moments in Everett when a bullet shattered the window of this State Patrol SUV. Troopers say a gunman chased after the patrol vehicle along Everett Mall Way last night, first throwing a rock at the SUV, then firing a shot into a side rear window. The sergeant driving was not hurt. Investigators say the gunman then took off, later showed up outside the Everett PD South Precinct. There they say he started shooting at parked patrol cars while shouting that law enforcement did his family wrong. Police chased him down and arrested the man at the Everett Mall parking lot. Everett PD says it appears the man was in a mental health crisis.
Developing now, the U.S. is hitting a troubling benchmark in the COVID-19 pandemic with more than 85,000 new coronavirus cases diagnosed in just the last 24 hours. As cases spike nationwide and here at home, we're learning the death toll could nearly double by February 1st if nothing changes. We have live team coverage starting with Como's Denise Whitaker. Denise.
The newest numbers really add perspective, predicting that in January, 250,000 people will die every day in the U.S., according to the Institute for Health Metrics and Evaluation at the UW. That's 3 times more than the current death toll. The number of people testing positive every day for COVID-19 now reaching levels we've not seen since summertime. Almost half of all tests conducted in South Dakota come back positive at 46.2%. In Idaho, 34% of all tests are positive. In Wyoming, it's at 32%. Here in Washington, we are testing at 4.6%. Only 2 states, Vermont and Maine, are below the 1% threshold. The U.S. is now averaging more than 74,000 new COVID cases per day, consistently hitting records, alarming medical experts.
We know we're now going to be pushing cases well north of 100,000 cases a day very soon.
Wisconsin is one of 13 states reporting record high hospitalizations. 86% of all beds in the Badger State are taken. It's one of the reasons that Dr. Fauci is saying he's very worried about. He's worried about that region and the entire country, but really areas where infrastructure is smaller than in the big cities. And the concern grows well beyond coronavirus. The fear extends to anyone in need of immediate care, and that could be for a heart attack, a stroke, a car crash, any sort of trauma, because those beds are taken up with COVID patients. Certainly something to think about, medical experts say, when planning those weekend gatherings, it is Halloween, or any other family holidays coming up. Theron Zahn's covering the spike in cases a little bit more closer to home in our largest counties. Theron.
Yeah, the rise in cases, Denise, just before the holidays has health officials worried that as families want to get together for the holidays, we could see a rise in cases to levels we haven't seen since spring.
COVID-19 is spiking once again in King and Snohomish counties.
Whenever we let the virus get out of control, we threaten not only our health, but the health of our economy.
Snohomish County is seeing one of the biggest spikes. This heat map shows where those cases are popping up. The darker red is around South Everett, Mukilteo, and Mill Creek.
I think people are just kind of wanting to get back to normal and maybe ignoring what's actually going on.
In Snohomish County, the number of people going to the hospital and the percentage of tests coming back positive have nearly doubled in recent weeks. The newest data from the Snohomish County Health District shows the rolling 2-week average per 100,000 people is now now at 121. That's just below the record of 129 back in March. The health district says recent cases tend to be in adults aged 20 to 49, at workplaces, tied to family or social gatherings, and in long-term care facilities. King County's top health officer is also giving a harsh reality check.
Very concerned about where we're headed and the rough road that will be ahead of us.
COVID-19 cases and the positivity rate have been going up since September. There are more than 26,000 COVID-19 cases in King County. 803 people have died. Local public health officials say your holiday gatherings should be limited to the people you live with.
And I sound like a broken record at every one of those holidays, avoid the social gatherings because it's unsafe for you, unsafe for your family, unsafe for your kids, unsafe for the elderly.
And what we're hearing from health officials is that we're seeing a rise in cases across all age groups and also in settings such as schools and healthcare centers. So certainly this is not the time to let down our guard. We need to continue with those precautions, even though a lot of people are really tired of it from the spring. But it's a matter of life and death, especially when it comes to the more vulnerable folks in our community.
And Theron, a top state health official, says early data shows in-person classes does not seem to spur significant coronavirus transmissions. The Seattle Times reports the state has logged 36 outbreaks in schools since the pandemic began, 10 in mid-October. Nearly all those recorded outbreaks included fewer than 5 cases. The Times report says that fits with emerging data around the world that hints schools, in particular elementary schools, are not driving COVID spread. But health experts say data collection on coronavirus impacts in U.S. schools is fragmented, and research on transmission remains unsettled because the number of schools with in-person classes remains limited. But state officials say the available data is encouraging and offers hopeful signs of being able to reopen schools with strong health and safety measures in place.